Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled among rolling hills and mist-covered valleys, there was a beautiful princess named Alara. She was as radiant as dawn, her presence gentle yet powerful, and her heart, though sheltered by the walls of her royal home, longed for something more than duty and tradition. Every day she walked in the royal gardens, where the air was sweet with jasmine and blooming roses. It was here that Alara met him, the general. Aldrich, the commander of the kingdom's military forces, was a man of strength and honor, tall and handsome, with dark hair that fell across his brow and eyes that gleamed with purpose. He stood apart from others. Yet his courage and unwavering loyalty had earned him the kingdom's admiration. Though their worlds were different, Alara and Aldrich shared a deep, undeniable bond. Beneath the boughs of an ancient oak tree, they shared stories and secrets, their friendship blossoming into something deeper, where their friendship slowly blossomed into love. Yet their love was forbidden. The queen, Alara's mother, disapproved of Aldrich. A woman of strict tradition, she believed royal marriages were for political gain, not love. And Aldrich, despite his virtues, was not of royal blood. The queen watched over them, casting a shadow over their every meeting. Are your eyes heavy, dear listener? One afternoon, as the sun sank low in the sky, Alara and Aldrich stood by a fountain, the sound of water gently trickling over stones, soft rustling of leaves with a smooth, gentle breeze. Aldrich, Alara whispered, we cannot go on like this. My mother will never allow us to be together. Aldrich's hand brushed against hers. I know, my princess, but we cannot fight tradition alone. I wish we could be free, she sighed, her heart heavy. Aldrich stepped closer, his voice full of quiet determination. What if our love is not the first to be forbidden? Alara looked at him, confused. What do you mean? What if our families are not as far apart as we've been told? What if our love has existed before? Her heart raced. You mean our ancestors? Aldrich nodded. I've heard stories of a princess and a military general from ages past. Just like us. They were in love, but their love was forbidden by the king and queen. Alara's breath caught in her throat. Could it be true? Could their ancestors have shared the same love they now held? Do you believe it? She asked softly. I don't just believe it, Aldrich replied. I know it. And perhaps, if we find the truth of their love, we can show the king and queen that our hearts are as true as theirs once were. At that moment, the faint sound of footsteps interrupted them. The queen appeared, her gaze sharp. You are here again, the queen said coldly. What is it you speak of in secret? Alara stood tall, her heart racing. We were speaking of the past, she said, her voice steady. Of our ancestors and their forbidden love. The queen's eyes narrowed. Your ancestors? What nonsense is this? Aldrich stepped forward. It is no nonsense, your majesty. There is a story passed down through generations. A love denied by royal decree, just like ours. The queen's expression darkened. You speak of old tales, but I will not allow such a union. The laws of this kingdom are clear. May your eyes rest and your mind escape, dear listener. Continuing, Alara, undeterred, spoke. What if our love is not a whim? What if it is a legacy, an unbroken thread connecting us to the past? Perhaps it is time to let love guide us. The queen was silent for a moment, then spoke in a quieter tone. If you truly believe this love is meant to be, you must show the king. He alone will decide. And so, with hearts full of courage, Alara and Aldrich stood before the king and queen, revealing the secret of their ancestors' forbidden love. The wise king listened carefully. You wish to follow in the footsteps of those who came before you, he said. Perhaps in this you have found something we've overlooked, something worth cherishing. The queen, though still hesitant, spoke. Love is a powerful thing. It can change kingdoms, but it must be true. In that moment, the queen's heart softened. She realized that love should not be controlled or denied, but celebrated. And so, Alara and Aldrich were allowed to marry. Their love once forbidden, was free to flourish. Together they built a future, not just for themselves but for the kingdom they both cherished. Their union became a symbol of love's power to conquer even the deepest of obstacles. As the years passed, the garden where they had met became a place of legend. It was said that if you listened closely on quiet nights, you could still hear the soft whispers of the princess and the general, speaking of a love that conquered all. And so, they lived happily ever after, guided by the love that had always been theirs.